following is a production of DallasCowboys.com and the Dallas Cowboys Football Club.
How about them Cowboys?
Yeah, go Cowboys!
This is Mick Shots, streaming live on DallasCowboys.com and the official Dallas Cowboys app. Now, here are Bill Jones, Everson Walls, and Mickey Spagnola.
And here we are. It's time for another edition of Mick Shots inside the SWBC podcast studio. What day is it, Mickey?
Did I get introduced? Stop. Did I get introduced? I missed that. I'm supposed to do my bang thing. Come on.
Okay. And welcome to Mick Shots with Everson Walls.
Were you waiting for a song or something?
Yeah, something. You know.
Here, have a tortilla.
There you go. That's what I want. Look at that.
What do you got tortillas for?
Man, look good.
Luis, that does Spanish radio and television, his relatives own a tortilla shop.
Okay.
He runs it, actually.
Oh, he runs it,
Yeah.
okay. And every year, about this time, the beginning of the year, he comes in with a big box of tortillas and passes them out.
Wow.
And when I was leaving doing Cowboys Today, they said, "Oh, take one." It's like, I will.
Took a whole package
Not
there
that
of
I
tortillas.
needed them. Well, you never know when you have to throw one. You know?
Well, Texas Tech might score a touchdown.
That's right.
You remember when they used to do that? They used to do that at Tech.
my
It's probably
God.
10, 12, 15 years ago.
So
I
they
don't
got to
know.
go clean up the tortillas.
They used to throw tortillas.
Well, they let them get stale so they were stiff and fly better.
Yeah, that's right.
Since you know everything about Texas Tech.
All right, so here we are, and the team was practicing, but not all the players were practicing.
Yeah, one key person was missing
Gee, who would that
after
be?
Mike McCarthy's morning press conference, and the players reported. Micah Parsons tested positive for COVID, and he is on reserve COVID at this point.
Chris.
You know what? It's the world we live in, right? Nothing really surprises you anymore.
If it's going to happen in 1 week, it might as well be this week.
This might as well be a good week. And so reading up on the vaccinated positive tests, if you're asymptomatic and you test negative, you can get back within 5 days. It didn't say you had to wait 5 days, I think.
You just
So-
have to have a negative test, don't
Yeah,
you? Just
yeah.
one negative test
Right.
the next day you can be back.
Exactly. So we'll see. You know, he was, if it's going to happen, better this week than next week, right? And would definitely be back in time for the playoff game. But that rookie sack record might be safe because he needed a sack and a half to tie it. Javon Curse, 1999, I believe it was. And that kind of would have left the Cowboys a little short on linebackers, by the way.
What's up with Keanu Neal now?
Keanu Neal looks like he's coming off.
Okay.
So he should come off today, and he should be ready to go. Because the other thing was yesterday they didn't even practice, and they put Jaron Curse limited with a hamstring. And Mike said he would start the practice today in rehab. But the pre-pool report suggests that it hasn't been released yet.
Okay.
I know what's on it.
I went looking for
That
it.
he was out. That he was out there. So we'll see how much he was going to do. I would imagine limited, but he kind of took up Keanu Neal's spot in some of the linebacker roles in their change-up defenses this past game. So
And Vander Esch played a lot more
and
snaps.
he played a heck of a lot more snaps. So, yeah. So anyway, that's their deal. And by the way, I'm starting to come around to Bill's conspiracy theory with the Eagles COVID.
With 12 going on
12
Monday.
going on yesterday.
By getting ahead of the game?
No, by not having to sit guys out, but sit them out with COVID, and you can get COVID call-ups off your practice squad.
And you kind of treat it as a preseason
And
game.
so I saw one of the guys that was on their list, by the way, their starting right guard, Nate Herbig.
Uh-huh.
Well, he got injured in the game, by the way, in the second quarter, and he sprained an ankle, left ankle, it was reported. In the second quarter, he returned, but he conveniently is one of the starters on their 12 COVID list.
Mm-hmm.
So because he's on COVID, you could call up somebody to replace him.
Right.
So I'm starting to come around to Bill's way of thinking.
What about Cincinnati? Cincinnati Bengals. Bengals.
What about him?
Burrows is out.
Yeah.
And Mixon is out.
I knew Mixon was.
Yeah, and Burrow's not playing this week.
Oh, he's just not
Do
going
they
to
need
play.
the game?
No.
See,
No.
so how convenient is that?
Right.
How convenient is that? That Burrows and Mixon are out. Come on.
Suddenly,
so he's
COVID's becoming convenient.
Well, they took care of business. They won over Kansas City, so they won the division. That gets them a 4 seed. And I haven't looked at the AFC
I don't think
scenarios.
they can improve their position at all.
They're at number 3 right now, I think, because I think Buffalo and New England are playing each other.
Them winning improve their position?
I haven't looked at it.
And that's my thing. So it's, like I said, kind of fishy. Once again, you've got Burrows out, you've got your starting running back and your starting quarterback out for a game that you don't necessarily need. You can't improve yourself by playing in that game.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
So, I mean, along those lines, though, obviously you want your team, all your players playing next week.
Right.
Okay. And so how much of a risk is it to play a starting quarterback this week? And, I mean, we go through this every year.
Here we go, Bill.
That, it's playoff time.
Now the analysts are saying how important is this game? Is it worth the risk to your starters?
Let's look.
They're going to say, what's the risk versus the reward?
Yeah,
that's kind of how.
What happened to the Ole Miss quarterback happened?
Right.
Mm-hmm. So
I'm not talking this team, but any team.
What if there wasn't 17 games this year?
Mm-hmm.
What if there was just 16? The Cowboys going to sit out last week against Arizona?
Well, if they were in the same position they might be in this week.
But they were sitting
but
with
last
an
week,
opportunity to win the second seed.
The difference last week. Yeah, the difference last week is by winning that game, you have the 2 seed, and you would be hosting 2 playoff games.
Was here.
What you're looking at now is you have to have both Tampa Bay and the Rams lose in order to move up to that spot.
Mm-hmm.
Right. So, but you don't know.
Yeah.
Because you're playing first.
Right.
And then Jerry said something very interesting the other day, yesterday on his fan deal. He said, the good thing of playing on Saturday night is we'll have a long rest. So do you think they want the Cowboys to play on the Monday night playoff game?
No way. You can't do that.
Huh?
You can't. That would not be good.
But why would he say a long rest? Because
I think he's just referencing Sunday. He's thinking a Sunday game. I think.
That's all I'm thinking is one more day.
Or maybe he's suggesting that they wouldn't play the Saturday playoff.
And he's just saying that you get your maximum amount of rest.
Right. He didn't say maximum. He said long.
That's what he meant.
We're analyzing what Jerry said.
So wait. There is a Monday night.
Yes.
Oh, my goodness.
So think about the winner of that game.
That TV is just making so much money.
Right, yeah.
Well, this COVID, dagnabbit, we got to play
They're not making money.
They're
paying a lot of money, and they're getting their way, right?
Yeah.
So, it's possible that you wouldn't know who you're playing in the next round. Well, and then there's just one Monday night game.
Yes.
So it could be an AFC game.
Okay.
Or it could be an NFC.
Right.
So
they had to space the games out because they got an extra.
They got windows.
So why don't they have this scheduled together on which conference is playing on Monday night?
Say it again?
They don't have the schedule together.
Oh, no, because they're going to pick which game would be more
prominent.
The networks.
And the Cowboys are always prominent,
So you tell me
right?
I'm making money?
But that's why the Cowboys typically, And now, as soon as I say this, we'll go back and figure
right
out
after the show's over.
But it seems like the Cowboys often, when they're in that wild card round, they often play the Saturday night game.
Yeah.
And the Saturday night game and the Sunday night game are the money games.
Uh-huh.
And
but now Monday night could be money game.
Well,
I mean, that's got to be the money game. It's Monday night.
Well, no, because it's an ESPN game, and so it's not an over-the-air broadcast.
I don't know.
Fox and CBS and NBC.
Why does that make a big difference?
It's a difference, just because it's cable and
not that much.
There's not as many eyeballs. I mean, if you look at games on ESPN as opposed to over-the-air big games, like for instance this week, the Cowboys, had a huge rating on Fox. Had a 36 rating for this game against Arizona.
Uh-huh.
If it was a Monday night game on ESPN, it would be probably 30-ish.
Really?
Yeah.
I wonder who has the first pick.
But maybe they're trying to encourage people to make sure they have ESPN as part of their package.
This would be their moment to capitalize on ESPN.
See, we told you to upgrade your subscription.
This is the moment. Dallas Cowboys playoffs. Unique format.
I know this is hard to believe, but there are some people who don't have ESPN.
It's hard to believe.
It's hard for me to believe. But my daughter does not have ESPN.
Hey, we were at my brother-in-law and my sister's house one holiday, and for some reason she decides to upgrade her cable package, and she didn't even put the sports package on there. And you're hosting the Christmas dinner. No, we got to call somebody right now.
So we go visit. And
we got to call somebody right now.
So we had to put our cable information in
Jerry rig and stuff
in order to be able to watch ESPN
or bring your Joey box to the other TV, right?
So that's the difference right there. There are some people like my daughter who don't have ESPN.
Well, we don't have that problem at my sister's house anymore. I tell you that much.
Well, I think ABC better watch themselves, because for almost this entire season they've been in a disagreement with Dish Network. And if you didn't get an over-the-air antenna to pick up the local stations, you didn't have ABC.
Mm-hmm.
Over-the-air antenna. Would that be rabbit ears?
Yeah.
Is that the upgraded rabbit ears?
They put them in the attic for
Okay.
Yeah, which was a little-known thing that 2 years ago, the season was ready to start, and Fox was in a disagreement with Dish Network. And so, quiet as it was kept, they allowed you to get an over-the-air antenna to compensate, right? Because otherwise they were going to lose people, right? No, I'm going somewhere else, right? Well, now they started it with ABC. And so that's how I get Channel 8 here in Dallas, over that antenna that's up there. And I get whatever the weather knocks out the dish, I got it over the air.
Did you see
antenna.
Mickey tried to figure out his remote control and tried to figure out how he
there.
Okay.
No,
all right.
right
So it's right there. You don't have to go to a different source for it.
Oh, okay.
It's right on the guide. The guide picks it up.
There you go. That's how it works.
Otherwise, he's right.
Okay, so here's the other factor. Eagles have 12 players on COVID.
Yeah.
We're going to assume those 12 are not playing in the game, and it's a smattering of starters as well as
Not
backup.
a smattering, half of them.
Yeah.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6.
Okay, and so how Philadelphia approaches this game, does that affect how you approach this game?
Well, I saw a headline in one of their papers saying, they got enough people on the practice squad to call up. Because you get COVID replacements.
Yes, of course.
So, no, I'm going to win this game, and if it's in hand, then I'll start pulling guys
We will
out.
win. We must win.
Win, yes.
Win is the name of the game.
Very good. All 1989, right? Which, by the way,
1989.
That's Jerry Jones'
said that
opening
at his
press
opening
conference.
I was going to say we were 1-15. Wow.
So
That was a famous line from the opening press conference.
Okay.
Which brings me to this.
Right. It just took a minute.
The Jocks and Socks press conference was.
Which brings me to this transition, and I wasn't sure how I was going to get to it, but I was trying to find, and I was getting ready to find it, and I've got an off computer. What do you call it? A reserve.
What are you talking about?
I can't think of what it's called.
I'm here for you, Mick. I'm here for you.
Like a flash drive.
Okay.
All right.
Right?
Yeah.
And it's got all the old articles on it.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
That were up in the old library. And I was researching the preseason game against Denver that year because I was going to do something on Dan Reeves.
Mm-hmm.
And if you remember, Reeves in the preseason game against you guys, he was mad because they fired Tom.
Mm-hmm.
And Elway was playing into overtime in that game to try to win, and he ended up throwing the winning touchdown pass, right? So I was trying to find it to see what was said afterwards because he was taking revenge, right? Well, before I got to it, I found my story that I wrote after training camp. It was a long piece on Jimmy and what he was like and everything. And I had just gotten to the quote from Everson Walls, by the way. And I started it off with saying, well, if anybody's going to speak out and say what he's got to say, it's going to be Everson Walls, right?
What did I say?
And you said something to the fact that each of them, Tom and Jimmy, had different ways of motivating players. You said Tom would kind of give you the eye, and that would shake you up.
Right.
And he said Jimmy would grab your shoulder pads and shake you up.
Hey, that's funny. That's probably, yeah.
I thought it was pretty good.
Yeah, it's pretty good.
Speaking of Dan Reeves, of course, he passed away over the weekend. And you growing up in Dallas, what do you remember growing up as a Cowboy fan as far as Dan Reeves is concerned?
I remember the fullback pass. Mm-hmm. That's what I remember. Was that to Lance? Was that to
Lance Rensel in the Ice Bowl? Yeah,
that's right.
It was a halfback pass.
That's my
but,
halfback.
Yeah.
He was a halfback.
Yeah.
That's my first.
Newhouse was a fullback pass.
Yeah, and see, to me, they were both the same because both of them were used the same way.
Right.
Both of them were talented, and that's why Tom would use them in that
way.
way.
They went to the left, and
that's exactly right.
Yeah.
And they would throw with the right hand. So yeah, you saw where. That was my first memory of Dan Reeves. So when they talk about him passing on, it's never really mentioned, not necessarily as a Cowboy.
Right.
They always talk about him as being a coach for the Giants and the Falcons. Dude, he's a Dallas Cowboy.
And he was a really good player,
yes,
too.
Yes, he was. He was one of the smartest players to play for Tom Landry. That's why Tom loved him so much.
He was a player coach.
He kind of set that tone for coaches or players that you can rely on the field. Springs was that guy. Newhouse was that guy. You had players on the field that recognized situations, and they didn't have to refer all the time to your coaches. That's kind of players that Tom loved.
He might have been their first, and you guys can help me with this. I'm doing it off the top of my head. Undrafted free agent that was that successful with him. Because he came out of South Carolina.
Now, maybe on the Dallas Cowboys, yes.
Yeah, that's what I mean.
The whole
for the
league,
Cowboys.
that's a tough one. Yeah.
And,
I think for the Cowboys.
And I'm not sure when Cornell Green came into prominence.
No,
I mean, he was in that same era,
right that
obviously.
same time,
yeah,
but
here's
let's be real. Cowboys were known for that. I mean,
right.
Up until even when I played.
And he was a quarterback, running back at South Carolina. Mm-hmm. The Cowboys actually brought him in. They were going to make a defensive back out of him. And they had moved Mel Renfro to running back. And
let's just look at that.
Somebody got hurt, and Mel had to go with the cornerback, and so Reeves became a running back.
And see, that's what you had to admire about the Cowboys' scouting staff. They were getting players that were, they could juggle a lot of balls. Mm-hmm. These guys were good at more than one thing. So they were almost like not replaceable, but you could put them in different holes and they would fill that hole just perfectly.
Yeah, and he was one of my favorite players, but I didn't until he passed away over the weekend. I didn't realize what kind of impact he made on Cowboys fans in that era. Except when my sisters start on our little group text. Mm-hmm. they start texting, "Oh no, Dan Reeves!" And they were talking about how they just love Dan Reeves.
Yeah.
And Reeves went to when my one of my older sisters was in high school. He went to MacArthur and visited whatever, and she still has the picture of her with Dan Reeves and some of her friends that were on the drill team and stuff. But then I went and started looking up. Okay, like you're saying, most people think of Dan Reeves as being the coaching,
Denver,
Broncos,
what he's done in the last
Yeah.
4 decades, 4 decades as a coach or whatever.
Don't even mention
So I
the
went back
Cowboys.
and looked at, so why was he so popular a player with the Cowboys? And
I can answer you that.
what's that?
Why?
Yeah.
Because he did so many different things.
Well, he was versatile, but then you look at his stats, okay? He 1965 was his first year, 13 games, 6 starts, and he had 3 touchdowns that year. His second year, okay, playing halfback, he had 16 touchdowns that season, and in his third year, he had 11 touchdowns. And so I did the math on it. The first 38 games of his career, he had 35 touchdowns. I mean, he literally was on pace to be one of the great running backs in Cowboys history. And then 4 games into the 1968 season, he tore up his knee. And when you had a knee injury in 1968, it was not the same as a knee injury in 2022.
And think about it. They had him playing halfback because Don Perkins was considered the fullback.
And that was the primary running position was the fullback.
And then Garrison gets here. Garrison got here in 66, I believe it was. And so you had these fullbacks that they were using quite a bit. And then before the salary cap, he was a player coach. Mm-hmm. So, and then he coached almost every position.
There's a classic picture of the coaching staff, and it's got, Ernie Stautner and Jim Myers and maybe Gene Stahl. I can't remember who all was in the picture. And then so they got their coaching shorts on and everything, And here's Dan Reeves with his football uniform on.
And think about and the thing everybody remembers about him when they tell stories is how competitive he was, even when they were just playing silly games or whatever. He used to have some trick thing where he can stand a quarter on edge on the side of the table and blow it along the side of the table or some silliness like that everybody would tell stories about. But again, the reason I was looking up the still was just how competitive he was in a preseason game trying to show the Cowboys, all right, because there were stories when he left to go to Denver in '81 that they thought Tom was grooming him to be the next Cowboys head coach. And it's like, well, no, I'm not waiting any longer.
He wasn't waiting.
He would have to
another
wait
8
till
years.
1989.
and so anyway, and tell me if I told you.
And I'm thinking Jimmy was still going to be the coach in 1989.
So stop me if I told the story here because I've told it a couple times already. When he was in the Super Bowl with Atlanta, the Dirty Birds, remember? So it was '98 season. They were playing Denver, by the way. And I was the pool reporter for the AFC practices, so I had to go to the practice for the NFC and write a sanitized report, and then they pass it out to all the media.
Stop.
What?
That you said that. You told this story.
I did. Okay. I don't need to tell. Thank you.
I just waiting to
it was me
hear
and
something
you.
familiar.
It was. I think it was me and you.
Was it me and you? Okay, yeah. Well, you said say stop.
Or Bill wasn't listening, right?
No, I remember the sanitized report.
Yeah.
So is there a point to that story?
Yes, because I kind of screwed up the sanitized report.
Can you hurry it up?
Yeah, they had a guard. They had a guard that they moved to fullback, and I said so and so took some snaps at fullback, and it got out. And the guy that worked for the Atlanta paper made a big story about it.
Furman Bisher?
No. And Dan was hot.
Yeah,
he chewed out the beat writer, right? And so when I found out what happened the next day, I went up to him. I said, "Hey, my bad. It was my fault. I should have checked with you. I just thought it was common knowledge the way everybody was talking about it." And he goes, "Well, he should have known better." Right? So after the game, they got beat by 20 points or so. He was coming in for his post-game press conference, and we crossed paths, and he looked at me, and he goes, Guess that fullback didn't have much to
That's
do with
right.
that.
I remember. That's the story. That's the story.
All right, we got many more stories from Mick's Vault coming up here
Mick's Vault.
on Mick Shots.
Hey, Cowboys fans, ready to spice up your next watch party? Bring Yo Quiero guacamole and be the game day hero. Yo Quiero means I want, and we know you want great, fresh-tasting, ready-to-serve guacamole for your home gating and tailgating events. Made with real avocados and the perfect blend of spices, it will be the star of any party. You can find us at your local Albertsons or Tom Thumb in the deli section. If you can't find it, talk to your store manager and tell them, Yo Quiero guacamole.
Brace yourself for an existential question. Has your butt been having enough fun lately? Have you been treating it well? Has it been going places? If not, then it's about time you start using SeatGeek. SeatGeek is the best way to get your butt tickets to live events. Just ask the thousands of other butts who have rated it the #1 ticketing app. So what are you waiting for? Download the app now or visit SeatGeek.com to get tickets to sports, concerts, and live events and make your butt happy. SeatGeek. Get your seat in a seat.
How great would it be to travel to watch the Cowboys win on another team's turf? Pretty great. But honestly, just watching the game from anywhere but your house would be fun. Even a hotel bar with some guy named Phil from St. Louis who thinks Oakland still has a team. So whether you're traveling to the game or watching from your favorite vacation spot, book a place to stay on Hotels.com. Proud partner of the Dallas Cowboys.
At AT&T, everyone, new and existing customers, get our best deals on every smartphone. Why? Because you deserve it. For turning your living room into your office and your gym. For teaching Grandma how to video call. And teaching her again.
It's the button on your left, Nana. Okay, your other left.
It's not complicated. Everyone deserves something new. So AT&T is giving everyone, new and existing customers, our best deals with every unlimited plan on every smartphone, even the latest ones.
AT&T may temporarily slow data speeds if the network is busy. Restrictions and exceptions may apply.
Back to Mick Shots.
Your favorite WWE superstars return to AT&T Stadium for WrestleMania on Saturday, April 2nd and Sunday, April 3rd, 2022. That is this year. Get your tickets to the most stupendous two-night WrestleMania in history. Visit SeatGeeks.com, the official ticketing provider of AT&T Stadium.
What are the dates again?
Man.
2nd and 3rd of April.
Of April. Oh, wow.
And we're already in 2022, by the way.
Yes, we are. Yes, we
But
are.
I remember reading that like in November, and I'm thinking, God, 2022
That's way off.
is way off.
Yeah. Are you into WrestleMania?
No.
Me either.
All right. So, team was on the practice field. Micah Parsons not on the practice field. What other notes do you have from the sanitized pull report that you
That hasn't come
that
out
hasn't
yet.
come out yet?
Keanu Neal's off of COVID reserve.
Oh, nice.
So that helps
That's
out
great timing.
with the linebacker
Yes,
position.
it does. Yes,
and
it does.
yesterday, when they had a walkthrough, J-Ron Curse was listed as limited with a hamstring. And Mike said in his press conference today that he would start the practice in rehab, and then they'll see where it goes. So my guess is he's probably going to be listed as limited because they used him as a linebacker.
Yes, they did.
When they needed three linebackers this past game.
He was
it was
trying- he
Vander
was the
Esch
one covering
Parsons.
Zach. He was covering Zach Ertz.
Yeah,
Yeah.
So he did a lot with the tight end.
So we've got Wilson that can always fill in, not necessarily at the linebacker position, but at the big safety spot maybe.
Yeah, and he, although I don't know that they want him carrying receivers off the line of scrimmage, maybe.
No, I'm not talking.
Yeah.
No, big safety.
But big safety. Yeah. So, and it was kind of a short practice. They might have been out there maybe an hour, and that was it. So,
this is week 18, man.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's week 18.
It's like how hard you got to
People are tired,
practice, right?
What else we need to know?
But the good thing is if they're taking the game seriously, they get a week of practice, right? You don't forfeit these practices, and they need practice, right? They ain't there yet. And it's not like they're an accomplished team And it's like, okay, we can pull back, and then we'll turn it on next week, right?
Like the Packers or somebody.
Yeah, they need to work. So,
were you able to listen in to press conferences?
Briefly with Amari and Randy Gregory.
Okay. What are both of you seeing as far as the pass game goes
That's
now?
what I was going to ask you. I was going to ask, how was Amari's attitude? Because I hear he's very truthful in his
One
interviews.
of the things he said, basically, when they were saying your numbers, and we were supposed to have 3 1,000-yard receivers, and now you got maybe one, and he said the numbers don't always tell the whole story. And he went on to explain about sometimes the passes are batted at the line of scrimmage that were intended for me.
Yeah.
You get targets when the quarterback's throwing the ball away, but it's in your direction. And he goes, and then there's some that we just missed connections on. And
that's his polite way of saying sometimes Dak just throws it way over my head.
Well, or short. In this game, it was short,
yeah.
right? And he goes, but then that doesn't tell you what's happening at the line of scrimmage. And so he was pretty diplomatic about it. But he goes, my goals to start every season is to lead the league in every receiving category, catches, yards, and touchdowns.
Which he can.
And he's got that ability. I think he leads does he lead the team with 8 touchdown receptions? I think that's right. He was he wasn't saying, throw me the damn ball, right? He's got 8 touchdown receptions. CD is second with Schultz with 6 each. So he does lead that category, but certainly not the league. Mike gave a pretty. Did you hear McCarthy's deal today? He got asked a question about the running game, and I don't know if it was the entire offense. He must have gave a 4-minute answer, and basically was saying kind of the same thing. It's like my analogy always is people want to see a stat, so it's like you got a box and you wrap it up and put a bow on it, but you got to look inside the box to see why this happened. And that he went on and on about that today, about, don't just look at the numbers, look at the whys. And he goes, and that's what we have to do as a coaching staff. He goes, and that's why I learned when I was a quality control coach that you take the emotion out of the analysis and you just look at that play, the next play, and the next play, and don't try to tie it all together. And I thought it was pretty good about the different.
Even saying all of that, Spags, I mean, there's still no getting around.
No, they have not been productive
still no getting
against
around
good
the inefficiency.
teams.
Correct.
Right.
Yeah.
And they're they've only had 2 wins against teams with winning records, Philadelphia, along with the Chargers, and then the Saints may have one if they win their last game. They're teams with winning records.
Patriots.
The Cowboys and the Patriots. Yeah. 3 of them. That's right. And it could be 4 if the Saints should win this last game. And then 3 of the losses, again, Tampa Bay, walk-off field goal by 2. Raiders, walk-off overtime field goal by 3. And then this last game by 3. So they lost 3 games by 8 points.
So, of the games, you back at the schedule, and you look at the opponents played, and which of the opponents, if the Cowboys had won those games, or maybe they did win the game, whatever you decide, you're like, that's a good win. Obviously, Tampa Bay would have been one of those.
Well,
and they didn't win it. Kansas City would have been one, but they didn't.
Arizona.
New England was one.
New England was.
I had a high respect for what New England was doing.
And they should not have lost to the Raiders. That was the bad loss.
That was the bad loss. But as far as a loss that you really needed to win to make a statement, I thought Arizona would also be put in that category.
That would be in that category. Yeah.
But the
a
Raiders
10-win team, now
weren't as
11-win
good
team.
as the Cardinals. So that's a game you were at home Thanksgiving.
Right.
And
Yeah. So my question is, of the beating good teams that have a good chance of playing in the second round of the playoffs.
Well,
and
I remember
the Raiders
what
in that category though.
No. They're barely.
I
they're
remember
fighting to get
Tampa
in.
and Arizona.
I remember what I wrote against after the Tampa Bay game, that they're going to kick themselves for losing this because they should have won it.
Mm-hmm.
They left like 15 points on the field in that game. Missed field goals or kicks or turning the ball over in the wrong spot. I just off the top of my head, I remember writing that they should have scored 40 points
I recall.
against Tampa Bay.
Yes.
And you put the Chargers in the same boat with the Raiders?
I do.
Okay.
I do.
Yep.
And just a notch above. At the time, though, that was an extremely quality win because
Right, second game of the
Chargers
year.
were like they
Right.
were picked to go into the championship
And
game.
Cowboys coming off a season opening loss,
That was huge win.
And they were somewhat fortunate to win that game because the Chargers had 2 touchdowns called back by penalties that had nothing to do
I'm telling you,
with the play.
Casey's interception was one of the biggest plays of the year. That interception in the end zone.
In the end zone,
Yes,
right?
Yes.
So did the penalties even out then all year? I don't think so.
No, heck no.
They never did.
I don't care how you put that one. That would be very interesting to see the penalty yardage and how critical the calls were. There's a difference between yardage,
Right.
but another difference between the critical calls at a critical time. That's the difference. If you could somehow track that, how many third downs did we make we converted on third downs to have it called back because of a penalty? That would be a nice stat to research.
So the other thing McCarthy talked about was the running game, and the fact that would they have
29 yards,
25 yards.
The running backs had
40
25 yards on 12 carries or something
right,
like that.
and Dak led them with 5 carries for 20 yards, I believe it was, and they didn't have that many attempts. And basically he said, well, here's another thing. He goes, and I have to check, but this is what he said. 6 of our 10 penalties came on third down.
That's what I'm talking about.
So that's hard to figure.
Yeah.
But he said if you look at it that way, then those penalties probably ended those possessions.
Oh, there's no doubt.
Right? And he goes, so that means we could have had 18 more plays in his mind.
Yeah.
And he goes, and that affected the ratio in the running game.
Mm-hmm.
Because if you look at the first half of the game, which I can, they had 32 plays for 162 yards, had 11 first downs. But they also had 6 penalties for 53 yards. And if I remember correctly, the first 2 holding calls brought back significant runs, didn't they?
No doubt. No doubt. They were significant runs. Not just plays, they were runs.
And then you get into the second half, and the Cardinals score to go up 19-7 to start the second half, and you didn't run the ball. You had a botched first down play, and then an incomplete pass, then a holding call on Connor Williams set you back 3rd and 20, and of course you're throwing there.
Connor.
And then the Cardinals get the ball back.
They found him again.
And
he's back.
They go 49 yards and kick a field goal, and now you're down 22-7 with 4 minutes to go in the third, and now you're basically having to throw
This is
it.
the pattern we got to take. I know we got to take a break, but this is the pattern with the Cowboys in their losses: the inability to stop the opposing team, and so therefore
without takeaways,
and as we offensively come on the field, then we are straddled with time. You know what I mean? We can't really run the ball like we want to because not only are we 1 score down, now we're 2 scores down. So we can't come out and establish our running plays and our running game the way we want to. Now we have to come out passing the ball. So us not being able to stop the opposing offense, that depicts on how our running game goes and how well we can use it.
The first possession, they're 3rd and 4 at the 48. They run for 2. Where did it go? Elliott 2 yards, so it would have been 4th and 2, and they get called for holding. So now it's 3rd and 14. Good luck with that, right?
Who got called for holding?
That was Tyron Smith. And then the next possession, it's 3rd and 4, and they get that weird false start on Biotish when Dak's not even
Understand.
was walking up,
Right.
calling out stuff, and he's sitting there adjusting himself, and they called a false start. Well, he was. Didn't you see what he did?
No, I didn't.
He had his hand on the ball, and he kind of did this.
That gets back to you don't want your lineman down in a stance for very long.
Yeah. And then
I thought you meant Dak was adjusting.
No, the center.
Okay, boy, that's very, very graphic.
And then their next possession, it's 3rd and 1, and
He didn't
Pollard.
necessarily have to be adjusting there.
Right.
Yeah, well,
It could have been adjusted.
But that's what it means, right?
That's in my head.
So 3rd and 1 at the 40, and Pollard goes for 8 yards, and they get
That's a
called
call,
for Collins holding. And then on 1st and 10 on the next possession, Schultz gets called for holding, and it was a 3-yard run. So now it's 1st and 17. So it just that was the first half.
All right. We're
One
going to
more.
wrap.
One more.
You want to do it after the break?
Third quarter, 3rd and 10 at the 22. Dak scrambles for 12 yards, first down. I'm sorry. Connor Williams holding, and now it's 3rd and 20 at the 12. Good luck with that.
And we'll be back with more Mick Shots in a moment.
The Medal of Honor is our country's highest military award for valor in combat. More than 40 million individuals have served in the armed forces since the Civil War. Fewer than 4,000 have received the Medal of Honor. The National Medal of Honor Museum will be a place to preserve these legacies and inspire America. It's being built right next door to the Dallas Cowboys in Texas. Help us honor our country's greatest heroes. Learn more and get involved at mohmuseum.org.
Want to use what the pros use? How about the official men's skincare brand of the Dallas Cowboys, Jack Black? Right now you can get the Jack Black Starter, a curated collection of Cowboys locker room favorites for just $10 with free shipping. The starter includes 4 Jack Black skincare favorites plus a full-sized intense therapy lip balm. Go to getjackblack.com/Cowboys and use the code word TEAMJB. That's getjackblack.com/Cowboys. The Jack Black Starter, $10, free shipping.
The Cowboys way, where 16 Hall of Famers and 5 championships shows us what success looks like. Where turkey is always the second best part of Thanksgiving Day. Where we are all defined by one single thing, the star. Where we as fans know it's our job to keep the tradition going. Bank of America is proud to be the official bank of the Dallas Cowboys and to support the quest of living life the Cowboys way. Copyright 2020, Bank of America Corporation.
Before there was a draft, you could size up a cowboy by 3 simple factors: the crease in his hat, the bend of his brim, and his unbending attitude. A man Stetson didn't just protect him from what life threw at him, it projected a rugged, unstoppable spirit. Stetson hats are still American-made with pride right here in Texas. They're still the unofficial crown of all self-respecting cowboys, and Stetson is proud to be on the field with America's team. Find a retailer nearest you at stetson.com/cowboys.
Back to Mick Shots.
I was thinking,
Go,
no,
Mick.
I don't have anything to say.
Wozniewski.
Oh, gosh.
You going to come up with it quick enough?
No,
Or-
it does not. This is how
I
he
thought you
acted.
had those memorized.
This is how he acted.
Let's just continue.
I said, did you get a replacement for Bill? Oh, no, I forgot. Did you get a replacement?
I forgot he wasn't going to be
I forgot
here.
he wasn't going to be here.
It's
And
texted
we were
him
just-
6
Hey,
times.
be the first to receive new offers, event info, and more when you sign up to receive text messages from the team. Text Cowboys to NFLDAL. That's 635-325 to receive 10% off your next Pro Shop order.
That's pretty good for somebody who just totally screwed it up, boy, I tell you. That's
Guess where I'm headed after this?
Fort Worth.
Nope. I'm headed to downtown Dallas.
Okay, Dallas.
Yeah.
What's going on?
Got a number retirement ceremony tonight at the American Airlines Center. Dirk Nowitzki's number
nice.
41.
I've been noticing
By the
he's
end of the
been
night,
doing
will be
interviews.
hanging from the rafters.
Yes, that's nice.
So I'm going down there to preview that 4, 5, and 6 o'clock.
So the pandemic kind of put that off for another
Yeah,
year. 'cause
it's been
supposed to be
2.5
last year.
years since he retired.
Right.
And
Are you sitting in Micah Parsons' seats because he can't be there?
Yeah,
because he was going.
I know Micah was planning on going. That's the worst thing about. Well, probably not planning the game would be the worst thing in Micah's mind. But the second worst thing is not being able to go to tonight's game. Golden State's in town, so that's a pretty good team
Yeah,
I
I'm
hear.
pretty sure.
Yeah, you usually don't schedule those teams for the retirement,
I think that's the reason is they probably are going to have Steph. The retirement ceremony is actually after the game.
Okay.
And so they're probably going to have Steph Curry say something afterwards and so forth. And or maybe Dirk just didn't want to go to a game unless Golden State was in town.
That's funny.
Yeah. So, the Cowboys don't retire numbers, do they, Mickey?
They just don't use them.
Yeah. 74 is not used.
Right. If you're a rookie, and it's usually a rookie free agent, and you get 74.
Every year there seems to be a 74 on the roster in
it's
the
an
preseason.
offensive lineman, never a defensive lineman.
Don't get a lot of 8s out there either.
Nope, no 8s, 12s.
Yep.
Is 22 used much
There's a
anymore?
few of them that shouldn't be out there
22.
along with the 12s.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I'm sorry.
They hand out 33, though.
Yeah, they just throw 33 out there like nobody.
But they
54, they just throw 54 out there
They
like
don't
it's
give
nothing.
33 to a running back, though. They always
that's
give it
a
to
defensive
a safety.
back.
Yes, they always give
Which
it
is, I don't know why that makes a difference.
54, probably an offensive
Yeah,
lineman.
they throw the 50. No, you had
Jalen had it.
Jalen
Oh, that's
had
right.
54.
That's true.
Yeah.
24. I think the trainer had 24.
12 didn't get thrown out much.
Would you be in favor of numbers hanging from the rafters at AT&T Stadium?
There's a limit of how many you can do. There's only, unless you're going to get to triple digits, right? Because you got all these guys on your team.
You got names.
Yeah, you got the Ring
Just
of
put
Honor.
the names
so
up
you don't
there.
need
That's what the
numbers.
Ring of Honor's for.
Yeah.
If you want the jerseys up, you can put the jersey by the name.
How many of the Yankees have retired? There's a bunch out in Monument
numbers?
Park. Yeah.
I think 1 through 10, maybe.
Mm-hmm.
Hey,
Or
RFK,
something like that.
RFK
I'm pretty
Stadium,
sure there's
remember
not a
RFK
single
Stadium?
number.
Yeah.
They had like every sport was being honored in the stadium.
Who's that?
At RFK.
Oh,
Stadium.
yeah.
Yeah, they had every sport.
Well, because they played soccer there.
No. Well, they don't play golf there.
Oh, they had to go.
Yes. They
Yeah,
had
boxing. They would have.
They got all kinds of stuff. And I remember looking like, man, they sure are generous with their Ring of Honor. I'm looking around.
Kansas City is too.
Okay.
And Denver.
Okay.
The teams you
Very generous, yeah.
kind of look up
The
there.
stadium's huge, and they just take advantage of the acreage.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And the levels. You get
And the levels.
multiple.
Right, you gotta look
you don't
up.
have to have a Ring of Honor level,
No, they
right?
got several rings. Like my
And
bathtub.
I like that. Yankee retired numbers. Wow. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 8, 9, 10, 15, 16, 20, 23, 32, 37, 42, 44, 46, 49, and 51.
And 42 didn't play for
That's 22.
Oh, there's Mariano Rivera.
him. Oh, is
Yeah.
Reggie
Oh,
Jackson
I was
is
thinking
44.
it was for
For Jackie Robinson.
Jackie Robinson.
Yeah.
Reggie's
So I was right, 1 through 10.
Is 44 there? It's 44.
Reggie is 44.
Which goes right back to the Lou Gehrig retirement speech.
So you think Roethlisberger will have his number retired, Everson?
Ben, I'm sure he will. They'll probably put it in Yankee Stadium. Too.
He's still doing laps at the stadium, I believe.
I think
He's still sitting on the bench waiting.
I think it's up there already.
Hey, he's still walking down the corridor.
That's right.
With his helmet on.
With his family. They're still walking. Yeah.
I think it's a right somewhere here.
Okay, so I'm about out of time. I got to hit that tollway and
Hit the old
head
Dusty
south.
Trail, baby. Hit the
Okay,
old
Well,
are you done, Mickey?
Check this out.
Oh, what?
The NFL has issued a warning to teams that they could lose a draft pick and face significant fines if club representatives conduct themselves unprofessionally in interviews with draft prospects. The league said a team would forfeit a draft pick between the first and fourth rounds and be fined a minimum of $150,000 if it's determined a club representative displayed conduct that is disrespectful, inappropriate, or unprofessional during an interview.
What's the urgency? What
What
happened?
prompted
Did something
this?
happen?
Is there something that prompted this or
Well,
something recent?
The league reminds teams annually ahead of combine that federal and state laws, as well as collective bargaining agreement between the league and NFL Players Association, prohibits discrimination based on various factors, including race, color, disabilities, religion, sexual orientation, national origin, or marital status. Those subjects are off limit.
Okay.
So whoever asked Dak or Dez the question about his mom probably shouldn't do that.
That's the one that popped to mind for me.
What they asked about his mom?
I'm not sure.
Yeah, we can talk about that off the air.
Okay, and that's going to wrap up Mick Shots, Mickey?
Chris,
hey, my mom always
it was like the censors just came down, right?
Some questions don't ask, boy.
I just don't feel like.
Yeah. Okay, so we're going to be maybe back together again tomorrow at 1:30. So. Okay, and we'll see you again tomorrow at 1:30 on Mick Shots.
Go Cowboys.
This has been a production of DallasCowboys.com and the Dallas Cowboys Football Club.
How about this, Cowboys? Yeah!